Okay, so you're a small business owner going crazy, probably in the mom and pop stage of your business, wearing 100 hats every day, cleaning up messes, putting out fires. I mean, you're probably literally doing it all, and all while trying to serve your customers well and grow a business. So, how do you do it? How do you keep it sane when you're trying to grow your business with all the tasks, the projects, the goals, the ideas, the thoughts, all that stuff? How do you do it? Well, if you're still managing all of this in your head or on random notes and pieces of paper scattered around your desk, or maybe even within those notes in your phone apps, then I am going to literally save you in this video. I'm going to save you time, money, and all of the headaches that come from being a business owner in your situation. I call it the mom and pop madhouse. And in today's video, I am going to help you install the second step of my goal achievement system, which is the Hero on a Mission digital planner. But before we get into that, I want to introduce myself. If we've not met, I am Kenneth Kolash. I'm a certified business coach, a third generation entrepreneur. I've been a pastor, an author, and I am super excited to be with you on this channel, offering you free content, resources, and tools so that way you can not only grow your business, but you can stay sane and actually build and enjoy the entrepreneurial rewards that you started your business for: time, money, and freedom. So without any further ado, let's dive right in. So I am going to have you go to heroonmission.com, and that is where you're going to sign up right up here in the top right corner like you would anything. Now, as it says here, it is now free to the public. And guess what? It is free forever. So in the top right corner, you're going to go to sign up. Now, I'm not going to click it because I have already signed up, and it's going to take you to the next page that I'm going to show you here in a second. But once you fill out your information, it's super basic, it's free forever. And once you do that, you create your account, and it is going to take you to a homepage that looks a little bit like this. Now, before we get into this, obviously we're going to go deep dive into this entire system and why it's not only valuable, but how to use it and the best and most effective ways that I have found to leverage it to not only achieve your goals, but be extremely productive in your days, weeks, and even your years to come. So before we get into that, I just want to share a little bit about the kind of value that I have seen from using a system like this. Now, you might be wondering, Kenneth, why are there two planners in your goal achievement system? And the answer to that, my friend, is twofold. The first thing that I wanted to mention is neither any of these steps are mandatory. You can custom create your own productivity and goal achievement system. I'm just sharing what has worked for me. So of course, feel free to take anything here that works and sounds great, sounds like steak and you want to cook it, eat it for dinner. And also feel free to get rid of anything that just kind of tastes like garbage. It's not for you either right now or never. This entire video series is for you to benefit and find out what works for you, what fits. But one thing I would suggest is if it's worked for me and it's worked for dozens and hundreds of other business owners, it just might also work for you too if you trust it for a little bit of time. So the second point that I wanted to mention is that I have found immense value, not only for myself with using this, but also for clients that I have helped in the past as well. And let me tell you why. The step one full focus planner, physical planner system is designed to actually bring you back to yourself, bring you back to your own sanity, so that way you can find the goals, the vision, the mission, all the things we talked about in the last video, which if you've not watched that, I would highly recommend you do that. I'll link it in the description below. But why is there a planner that is a digital planner following the physical planner right afterward? And the reason for that is I love to have access to my planning system and every aspect of my goal achievement system at my fingertips at all times. Now, not everything that I have in the full focus planner translates to this Hero on a Mission digital planner, but most things do. And the most important things that are missing from the full focus planner are met and actually enhanced in this Hero on a Mission digital planner. So it not only covers all the rest of my bases, but it also enhances my ability to not only have access to everything I need to achieve my goals at any given time, but it also enhances and fills in the gaps of some of those things that were missing in the full focus planner. And you're going to see exactly what some of those are and how to leverage those in just a few minutes. So let's dive right back into the Hero on a Mission planner. So what is this planner? Well, the first place it's gonna bring you is this morning ritual. Now, on the morning ritual, we're gonna hear more about this in a few minutes, but the first place I would recommend you start when you're first created your account and you're first jumping into this software is not actually the morning ritual page. It is the second tab. It is the Eulogy page. So when you click on that, you're going to see in your account, you're going to see a blank sheet of paper. And what is going to be on here, what I highly recommend, is not necessarily what the traditional definition of a eulogy means. And what I mean by that is when you hear of a eulogy, you normally think of, when I die, what are they going to read? When I'm gone, what are my kids going to say, and my friends, and what do I want people to say about me? And that is absolutely partially true in terms of what you can use this section for. But another way that I have found that not only enhances that part of it, but actually creates a more added value part for you daily, weekly, and monthly, and not just something for relatives or friends to read after you have gone on the sweet by and by. But the thing that I have found is that this is a great place to reinforce your own identity, your own values, your own mission, your own specific ambitions and ideas for not just tangible results for the future, but personal, deep, spiritual, emotional, mental, all these different things that I would consider your identity and who makes you different than everyone else on the face of the earth. Those types of things are things we need to be reminded of on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly basis. And why? Because we forget who we are. And what I mean by that is we tend to go with the crowd. We tend to start to form our identity around the things that we are surrounded by. And this is a great piece of paper digitally for us to constantly have that centering where we actually come back to what is truly valuable to us as an individual, to us as a business owner, and to actually have statements that help us to encapsulate who we are and what we're trying to achieve, and essentially bring us back to who we really are, not who other people are trying to sell us to be or try to influence us to be, but a real succinct document where we can actually come back to our own identity statement. So for example, I've got some different recommendations here. There's a great I am statement structure, which really just goes like this. I could put here, I am a strong, successful, confident business owner. I am a great husband and a business owner. I am somebody who spends time with my kids and succeeds in business. I am ... things that are important to you, things that are unique to you. This reminds you of what makes you different than every other business owner, every other person that's out there. So an I am statement is a great place to start. Then you can move into, like I said, identity statements, things that actually remind you of who you are. I'm a husband that treats my wife well. I'm a generous entrepreneur. I'm philanthropic first and materialistic second. Whatever those statements might be. Identity statements, affirmation statements, core values, core habits, personal mission and vision. Things that create a succinct document for you to be reminded of who you really are at the core. And I know it sounds crazy, but we need those reminders way more often than we would think. Okay, now the second place that I want you to go to is actually here on the left tab. It is right below Eulogy. It is your vision worksheets. Now, the vision worksheets are going to go a little bit like this. In the top right, there's a 10-year, a 5-year, and a 1-year section. So you'll notice that these are labeled differently. We've got 1-year priorities. We've got 5-year projects. We've got 10-year goals. And where I'm going to explain the difference between these three in a minute, but each of these worksheets is the exact same in terms of the structure. We've got, if a movie was made about your life this year, what would it be called? AKA 10 years from now, when you are however old you are, you're 50, you're 40, you're 23, whatever you are, what encapsulating title, what well-packaged title is going to completely define what you want that year to be like? I want you to create a movie title for your year 10 years from now, when all of these goals would have been accomplished. Speaking of, we've got a few different sections for us to fill out exactly which goals we want to achieve. So we've got career goals, we've got health goals, there's some family goals, friends goals, spiritual goals, other goals, and then there's a bottom section here we're gonna get to in a second. So what I want you to do is, starting with your career goals, or even wherever is easiest for you to start, whatever area seems to come to you first, we are going to start with that. But in every single one of these sections, I want you to create at least 2 goals for each. Now, we are going to create 2 goals. That doesn't necessarily mean that those are both going to be goals that are going to be our priority. We're going to choose one out of these 2, 3, 4, however many that you create. But at first, I want you to just list at least 2 for each section. If you come up with 5, 6, that is totally fine. Just know that we're going to narrow them down as we go through this funnel. And after you've listed out those goals, what I want you to do is I want you to come down to the very bottom, and you're going to notice there are 2 statements here at the bottom that might make you chuckle like they do for me. There's 2 things I try to do every day. And then on the right, there's 2 things I don't do every day. And both of these things are supposed to be core or critical or keystone actions that you can take every single day, or things that you can avoid every single day in order for you to actually accomplish all of these goals that you've listed out. Now, each of these, I want you to determine something that you can literally, physically, tangibly do every day, and something that you can physically, tangibly avoid every day. And why do I say that? I don't want this to be something that is abstract in the sense that it'd be hard to measure whether you did or didn't do it, or if it's still somewhat out of your control whether you do it or not. And I've found that for a lot of small business owners, if it's not tangible and measurable, we don't really have time to sit around and think about, well, how well is this working? Is this actually getting me closer to my goals? Now, as we come back up to the top, I want to explain the difference between goals, projects, and priorities. So what makes goals different than projects, different than priorities? For your goals, you're going to want to think of your goals as something that are going to take multiple tasks and multiple projects to actually accomplish. In other words, it's probably going to take you between 8 to 12 months, maybe 6 to 12 months to actually accomplish this goal because it's multi-tiered. So think of a goal as something more short, long term. It's not 10 years out. It's not 5 years out. It is somewhere between that 6, 8, or 12-month range in terms of when you're going to reasonably be able to accomplish this. And now the difference between projects and goals and priorities is different. Your projects are typically something you can accomplish within the quarter that isn't going to take multi-projects in order to accomplish, but is going to take many tasks to accomplish. So something that I can't just get all this done today. I can't just do all this in a week. I'm going to need to incorporate probably more than one person. So a project is something that is going to take typically somewhere between 2, 3, maximum 4 months to accomplish. And it requires many, many tasks and multiple people to actually achieve. And lastly, how are priorities different than your goals and your projects? Well, like you've probably already maybe come to the conclusion, it's not a goal because it's something you can accomplish way before 12, 8, or 6 months. And it's something you can accomplish even sooner than that 2, 3, or 4 month mark. I want you to think of your priorities as something you can accomplish within the very week or 2 that you are in right now. So if a goal is something that's going to take multiple projects, multiple tasks, many people involved, and if a project is something that's going to just take multiple priorities, multiple tasks to accomplish, but it's all within one team, then your priorities or your tasks are something that actually lead to both of those things being accomplished. They are the incremental steps that we take. So the tasks would be those broken down action items or project steps that we are going to break down into something that we can tangibly accomplish within the very week or 2 out that we're in right now. So now that we've covered the difference between all 3 of those, let's jump back into our Hero on a Mission digital planner. So we've covered our 10-year goals. Now we're going to go to our 5-year projects. And we're going to again create a title to make sure that we know where exactly are we landing with all these projects in 5 years. So we want that title to be inspiring, motivating, and kind of encapsulate the entire theme of what we're trying to accomplish in 5 years. Of course, you're going to throw your age in there. And again, we're going to list out maximum 2 projects for each one of these goal sets. And again, we're going to do at the very bottom the same things I do and the things I don't do every day. And then we're going to come up to our 1-year priorities. And just like before, we're going to throw our priorities in here into our career, health, family, friends, et cetera, et cetera. And we're going to add in our to-dos and our to-don'ts every single day. And what I'm going to say about this section here is that you're going to want to make sure that you have a decent number of priorities. So think of it like this. Your priorities is the top of the funnel. It's where all of the goodies are going to go. It's all the things that you've got to get done. And it gets narrower as it goes through your projects and your goals. There's going to be a lot of priorities, a lot of tasks that you're going to need to accomplish within this 1 year. And by the 5-year mark, there's going to be a fewer number of just larger projects that you're going to have needed to have accomplished. And then at the very end, you're probably gonna have the fewest number of actual goals, large giant rocks that you've been trying to move over a 10-year period of time. And so now that we're finished up with these vision worksheets, let's go to our goals tab here. Now I wanna clarify something here. The vision worksheets, their version of goals are these 10-year goals. Now, how I want you to use the actual goals tab is different than the vision worksheet. So the vision worksheets described the goals as 10-year goals. But for this tab, I want you to think of this entire tab as your projects tab. So for example, you've got 3 primary goals. I'll start calling them projects. You've got projects on standby. So when you come in here, you're going to create obviously the 3 that are going to be the primary ones you're working on. And then you're going to cycle through the goals that are on standby, because naturally there are projects that come one before the other. You need to get A done before you go to B, and B before you get to C, and so on and so forth. So let's jump into how we're actually going to fill these out. Naturally, you're going to give your goal a name, specifically something that is relatively specific to the outcome you're wanting to achieve. If you go back to my full focus planner video, the step 1 of my goal achievement system, that covers goals way more deeply than this one does. So they'll naturally go with one another, just like I said at the beginning of this video. But you got goal number 1 here. You got a completion date. We're going to set the completion date and then move into actually describing this goal. We want to create a goal description that does the very best job of giving us the details of what actually needs to have happen in order for this goal to come to fruition. So I would describe in there who's involved, who specifically needs to be talked to, how many sales, what type of conversion rates, how many new leads, etc., etc., etc. We want as much of this goal to be described as possible, so that way we know exactly how we are going to get there. And then we are going to move down to the why does this goal matter to you section. Just like the eulogy section, we need to be reminded of what is this goal actually doing for us? What is the ROI we're expecting? Why does this goal matter to you, and what are the reasons and the purpose behind actually achieving it? When you get clear on that, it will actually probably help you refine not only probably what the goal is, but actually the description of how you're going to get there as well. Now, coming down even further, we've got the goal partners. Think of this like accountability partners, or people that you're going to specifically rely on and work with in order for this goal to actually come to fruition. So it might be employees, it might be contractors, it might be software providers, it might be referral partners, affiliates, whoever it is. You want to make sure you put the top 3 people in there, so that way they are in the loop through the entire goal process. Now, in the next section, we've got milestones. I specifically like to use these more as reward milestones, not necessarily how far along are we in the goal achievement process. And the reason for that is I feel like we already most of the time know, but we don't necessarily bake in celebration or incentives or progress points where we can actually stop, pause, and recognize moments like these. So we want to establish what are those 3 reward moments along the way. Are those incentive points, or those stopping points where we actually can turn to our team, turn to the people involved, turn to our accountability partners, and make sure we are not only going in the right direction, but we are incentivizing us getting there even faster, even better than when we have previously been working on it. And then on the far right here, we've got our daily sacrifices, and I put necessary and temporary. These are necessary to achieve your goal. Maybe you have to wake up a little earlier, go to bed a little earlier, eat a little better, whatever the goal is. It's going to require something in exchange for the goal that you want. It's going to require either more time, more energy, more money, more effort, maybe some sacrifice, but all of that should be temporary. None of these sacrifices should be permanent. Your goal might create a different permanent lifestyle change or outcome, but the actual sacrifice to get there should not be permanent. It should be necessary to get there, but temporary, so that way you don't go literally crazy, always burning yourself out trying to achieve goals. And then we've got right below that a daily sacrifices repetition record. So every day that you fill out your planner, or you get up early, or you avoid going out to eat, or you don't have that cookie bar that you're used to having, whatever that it is, or you go to the gym, you want to mark those down, so that way not only are you increasing your total completion ratio, but you're also actually creating a streak for yourself to know that you're doing the right things to get to your goal. And then at the very bottom, we've got a notes section to, of course, put any notes as you're making progress, any notes or ideas that you have related to the goal, whatever you want, use that notes section and go back to your original goal sheet. So we're going to do that for every single goal in here. They're all the exact same. you want to make sure you create 3 goals that you're going to primarily work on. And I would even add in at least 3 standby goals. You'll do the exact same thing for them. Nothing changes on these. And then, of course, when they're completed, you'll check them off. But when you have this goals section and this project section done right, you are going to be so thankful because it is going to be a dashboard where you see exactly the work, not only that's coming up and the work that you're focusing on, but you're seeing it actually create momentum in your business. And every quarter or every year, when you do an annual review and a report, you can know exactly how much did we get done? Did we get it done in the right order? And so on and so forth. So this goals section, I consider it more of a project section, is the perfect combination with the Eulogy that we set up, the vision worksheets, and now this project system as well. And now we have come full circle to the morning ritual page that we started with. So let's head on over there. This morning ritual daily planner has a ton on it. And again, the fact that this is digital and with me everywhere I go is fantastic because things change on the fly in meetings, in different phone calls and appointments. So this is so great to have on the go. And I love not having to carry a physical planner on me every single time I go somewhere. So the first thing that it's going to bring up to you, because it is the first thing that you come to whenever you log into your Hero on a Mission digital planner, you are going to be taken in these little boxes to read your Eulogy. When you have, you can check that off. It'll ask you if you want to go back. Of course I do. I want to go back to my daily planner. It'll then ask you to go to your vision worksheets. You can go there. And every time that you review these, you read through them, update them if you need to. You're going to check, okay, I've gone through my 10-year, I've gone through my 5-year, I've gone through my 1-year. And now, yes, I would love to go back to my planner. Now, of course, you would have to manually go in and actually say, oh, I reviewed my goals today, because there's not a section on your morning ritual for it. And that is because you probably don't have to review your goals every single day. I do that on a weekly, sometimes bi-weekly basis, where I come in here manually and come to my goals, click on them, review them, put in notes, et cetera, et cetera. But the rest of your morning ritual is going to be super important for you to actually develop. Now, the left side has your primary tasks. It's got your secondary tasks, and then it's got your appointments at the very bottom. And on the right-hand side, we've got your routines. You got a few reflection questions. The first one is, if I were living this day over again, what would I do differently? And the second is, what am I grateful for today? And then we've got a journal entry section at the bottom. Now, I want you to start, when you're first filling this out, I want you to start on the right side of the planner. We're going to start with your routines. So in your routines, the point of these is to actually set up not only your morning and your evening routines, what you do before work, after work, but it's designed to actually help you create the right start to your work day, to your workflow, and how you're going to end your workday and end your workflow in a way that sets you up better for the day ahead or the day to come after. So some of the things that you can do is you can create a morning routine. You can create what I call a workday startup. You can hear more about that in the last video, the full focus video that I did. You have the workday shutdown. Again, bunch of stuff in there from the full focus video. And then you've got your evening routine. And each of these routines, you're able to create tasks for what that routine is going to look like. And you're also able to create a frequency that this specific routine is going to happen. So for example, that could be daily, weekly, monthly. It could be at a specific time. And what that does is it's going to show up on your actual routine page at daily at 7 a.m., daily at 9 a.m., weekly, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 5 p.m., et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I can either come in and check off tasks as they happen. I can be at the very beginning and I can actually just check them all off from this main page. But either way, this helps us intentionally know how our routine life is going. The routine section is brilliant for forethinking and foreshadowing what your productivity is going to look like, not only that day, but for the next day as well. Now, from there, I want you to go over to the left to your primary tasks. And on the primary task, I want you to think of these 3 tasks as the 3 must-do things that day. In other words, if you got 500 things on your list, there's probably 3 things, maybe even more, on there that if you didn't do that today, it would be a colossal failure, or it would be a disproportionate success to what you're trying to achieve. So there are normally 3, probably even more, things that you desperately actually need to get done. And where you find most of these primary tasks is they normally come from your secondary tasks from previous days. So for example, if I had on my primary list to do something for a client, or to do something for one of my staff, or to do something in the financials of my business, those things that have to be done. And I've got on my secondary task list things that if I didn't do it today, it really wouldn't kill me. It really wouldn't hurt the business. It really wouldn't destroy my family. It's the things that can wait till tomorrow. But if I did have time to do it today, I could do it. I would do it. And so a lot of these secondary tasks inevitably will become primary tasks. For example, cutting the grass. I love to cut the grass, but it is always a secondary task until it starts to look like Jumanji in the yard, until it starts to literally become a HOA problem. And I now have my secondary task of cutting the grass, and it becomes a primary task that I have to do that day. So it doesn't always happen like that. And most of the time it's with more important things. But my point is, your primary tasks are going to be the must get done things that day. And many times you will find those things in your secondary task list that have now become primary tasks for you to accomplish. So fill out your primary tasks. You can even put some details for what that task is going to do or look like beneath the primary task. And then same thing for the secondary task. I like to throw a ton of stuff in the secondary list because I know that I've got the full list, and then I can just pick my primaries from that list. And it's a very easy workflow for me to know, oh yes, I remember I did have that. Thank God I wrote it down. I can now put that in my primary list because I desperately do need to get that done today. It is now a must do task. And then at the very bottom of this page, you've got the appointments, and the appointments are going to be where you need to be at specific times during the day. They're must attend meetings. For example, if you've got a 9 a.m. meeting with one of your clients, if you've got a noon staff meeting, if you've got a 2 p.m. dentist appointment, things that you need to show up to, whether virtual or in person. I love to have this section because it helps me remember, number one, to look at my calendar every day before the day gets started. And two, it helps me actually remember throughout the day as I'm looking at this, oh yes, I have a 2 p.m. and it is 1:30. I need to start mentally shifting gears. So it helps me to never no-show appointments or never be unprepared when I have to leave and get to one as well. And then finally, we are going to come over to this right section again, the reflection questions. The first one is paramount. I know it's so easy to think, oh yeah, well, I would do everything that I've already put on my list. Of course I would do that. If I were doing it all over again, why would I do anything differently? I've already put it on my list. But just asking this question, you will be surprised at how many things either come up in your brain of, oh yeah, I really do need to call mom, or oh yeah, I really should have that one-on-one with my staff member. Oh yeah, I really do need to get that job ad posting out there. I'm desperately need more help in my business. You will be surprised at what things not only come to mind, but what things you reorder in your primary and secondary tasks because you ask this reflection question. So I highly encourage you to put your answers here below. And then right below it, same thing. What am I grateful for today? It is so easy to think, yeah, I woke up in a good mood. I'm pretty good. I had a great breakfast, sun shining. Nothing has blown up in my business or home yet. So we should be good. I'm grateful. But just asking this question again is going to create things in your mind and move things around in your mind where you not only reprioritize what you want to do that day, but it will bring up things that are important to you that you would have not thought about if you would have just gone straight into work or just gone straight into dropping the kids off at school or wherever you're doing. That question alone, what am I grateful for today? It not only helps you position yourself in a obviously more positive, grateful perspective, but it also helps you bring up things and remember things that are going to create even more things that are truly in alignment with what makes it worth living that day. And then at the very bottom, I love this section. I'm a writer, being an author and all that. I love to just write. I love poetry. I love writing short stories. I just love writing. So I love that there is a journal entry part here. I love to put quotes that I've heard or thoughts that I have. And being a Christian, I love to put my own little prayers on here. So the journal entry part, do with it whatever you feel inspired to do, but it is a great section to just be a catch-all for whatever's going on in your brain, in your heart, or in your spirit for that day. So enjoy that section of the digital planner. And that, my friends, is the entire Hero on a Mission digital planner. You can take it with you wherever you go. It covers almost every single base. It enhances some things from the Full Focus Planner. It obviously fills in gaps where the Full Focus Planner was missing things. But the most important thing is that it is accessible wherever you go, and it helps you to enhance your productivity and your goal achievement system. And I hope it does just like it did for me. So go to heroonmission.com, sign up, and actually use this in your workflow to achieve your goals, to have a more productive lifestyle and have peace of mind instead of having all that stuff crammed into your brain, trying to remember, deal with all the pieces of paper, the notes in your phone. This consolidates all of that into one place where everything in your brain can be free of all of the clutter, all of the tasks, all the projects, all the things you got to remember. And it can go on a specific object like this. So that way you can be free to think and have ideas, have peace of mind, less stress, actually sleep well at night, and be still productive in your business, knowing that you're going to achieve your goals with this second step in my goal achievement system, the Hero on a Mission digital planner. So I want you to subscribe so that way you can keep getting free tools, content, and resources just like this in this video. So that way you can grow your business well with peace of mind and actually enjoy the rewards that you deserve as an entrepreneur: time, money, and freedom. And being subscribed, you're going to know first when that next video drops on my third step of the goal achievement system, the Trello workspaces. You're going to absolutely love that, and it's going to help you grow your business and enjoy your life even more. And as always, you can find out more about me and my coaching business at kennethcoaches.com. See you next time.